Glimpse TV. I'm Kate Northrup, and I am here with my mother, finally, Dr. Christiane Northrup. And we filmed an episode of Glimpse TV back in August, but when we looked at the footage, we both agreed that we looked fat and that, quite frankly, we felt uninspired. So today is the mulligan, and for those of you who don't know, a mulligan is a redo. So we're here in Pasadena, and Mom just gave a really great keynote at the I Can Do It conference here with Hay House. So how did that feel to have a balcony full plus a full audience, standing ovation, rocking out in front of several hundred people this morning?
That was a very interesting experience. First of all, because when I started, I thought that the auditorium was half empty. And at the end, I looked up and noticed, oh, every seat is full, and then something happened up in that balcony. And I felt as though I had reached a new level of truth and joy. Truth and joy. It just felt like that.
It was
somehow.
awesome. It was awesome. So I've been watching my mom speak my whole life, and I never get bored of it. It's like and Wayne said, and I completely agree, Wayne Dyer, he said, you're the best that there is, and it's really great to watch you. And this is coming from somebody like I pretty much know your material somewhat, but it's always new, it's always fantastic, so it was really fun.
Thank you.
It was really fun.
And it was very fun to have you come up on stage. She came up on stage to do hip circles with me, and she's so good at it because one of her geniuses is kinesthetic genius, the ability to move, and when she moves, to move people. And I noticed it from the time she was a little girl in dance class. She was always, to me, the one whose movement moved me and moved others. And so it's a great pleasure to be able to set the stage to share that with my audience.
It was really fun. Thank you. And Wayne Dyer came up on stage with us.
Because we're irresistible and he
hilarious.
can't stand it. That was amazing.
So, anyway, and the other thing one of the things that people tell me the most often about you, which I know already, is they'll say, wow, your mom was so good, she was worth the price of admission. You know, I could have come here and just heard her, and that would have been totally more than enough. And they say, and she's so funny, which always surprises people, because I don't think your books are, Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom isn't like a comedy. So,
Women's health, as it is
women's health,
practiced
a comedy
in this country, in the world actually, is actually a tragedy.
Yeah,
it's not a comedy. So I came to Earth, I believe, to lighten that up into joy. I picked like the heaviest, most pathos-laden area, Earth and the menstrual cycle and breasts that people are terrified of, oh my God, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month as we speak. And so I'm transforming all of that into breast health awareness. And it's true, they don't think about women's health and funny.
Well, true. I mean, who thinks about women's health as being funny? But they don't know that you're funny until they come see you live.
That's true.
And so I want to know, how did you get so funny?
My dad I would play the harp or sometimes play the piano, and I would make a mistake on purpose, or I would be singing, and my father would say, "You're funny." And I didn't really have a chance to let it out. And I was talking to Cheryl, because Cheryl Richardson is in the green room before we shot some video, and she's telling me about Louise Hay taking all this stuff out of her bra during their talk together. Kleenex, a room key.
It's like Mary Poppins.
Yeah, whatever with her bra. And so I say to Cheryl said, I think as we get older, we get funnier. And I said, I think it's because as we get older, it uncouples the frontal lobe inhibitory circuits. And Cheryl goes, there's a tweet. She said, only from Dr. Northrup would we hear why we get funnier as we get older. So
that makes sense.
I think that I was born funny, maybe.
Funny.
But it took me a long time to create my sense of self and have it be okay. Now here's an example. Okay, so I'm taking my harp, this is back in college, into an old
Love this
folks home, but a
story.
very Tony old folks home in Cleveland, Ohio, because the harp ensemble often played in these venues. And I'm carrying the harp in, and I hear this woman getting off the bus in a walker, and she turns to her friend and she goes, "It was a good day. Nobody fell." Okay, so I'm laughing out loud, and one of my fellow harpists, very serious, goes, "That was not funny." So you see, the problem is, a lot of my life, I've been around people
Who are serious.
and they don't see the humor, and you know my motto, which is, if it's worth taking seriously, it's worth making fun of.
Yeah. And I've had to go the opposite direction a little bit, which is interesting.
Oh.
Starting out, I don't think of myself as funny, I think of myself as fun. I think those are two different things. I can be funny, but not on purpose. And so...
Mostly, okay, what she's good at is when I do something funny. Like, one of the favorite things is, we were in the car once, and I sat down on my Velcro rollers.
No, because you always leave... So she leaves the house with an extra roller in her hair often to set it just a little bit extra on the way to a restaurant or whatever. And so often, there's rollers or just around the car and whatever. So we're in the car on the way to a restaurant, and she realizes she's left something in the house, and so she gets up to go back into the house, and there's a Velcro roller stuck to her butt, and she's walking away, and it's kind of dangling, and I completely...
Yeah, she lost it like this. And there are many episodes like that.
Yeah.
Where one time we were in a restaurant and there was a glass wall and I didn't see it. And
it was at the Boston Harbor Hotel.
That's right. I walk into the glass wall and she, of course, loses it and falls down laughing.
Yeah.
Oh, let me give you a tip. This will be good for you listening. You ever want a picture taken that's good? Okay, you got to have a smile that comes from right on the inside. So when I'm at a photo shoot and I want to look like I'm really happy, I think about all the times that you have laughed at me. And then I lose it, and then the smile is what they call a limbic smile. In other words, it comes right out of my center instead of the cortical smile.
Because you can tell the fake ones.
You can tell the fake ones. So that's how you get a non-fake smile.
Right.
Have a catalog of funny things.
Like a Velcro roller stuck to your mouth's butt.
Yeah,
anyway,
like
so I have had to work the opposite way to take myself seriously because, quite frankly, my natural instinct is to make fun of everything.
Yeah, that's very true. You are always a funny child.
So anyway, it's just an interesting backwards on that same thing. So there was something else I was going to say. I tell you. Oh yeah, so just before we rolled the camera, I just told Mom that I am moving to Scottsdale, Arizona, and I have been afraid to tell my mother this because I thought she would be upset or mad or, God knows what the things we make up in our head are. And you said a great piece about mothers and daughters this morning, which we've been working on healing, so I think it would be relevant to share that with the
this
audience.
is the mother-daughter bag of shit. Okay, so here's how it works. Mothers and daughters have a bag of shit that they pass back and forth. This is before you get the program. And so if the mother won't pick it up, the daughter picks it up. Like, she's afraid I'm going to be upset that she's moving to Scottsdale for 6 months. We have the same mitochondrial DNA. I'm not worried about you ever leaving me. You're always with me. You're like my cat Buddy, who I had to put to sleep. He's still with me.
Hopefully you won't have to poke
No, and I won't. I understand,
so.
but you're very much with me. And so here's the thing: if a daughter starts to bloom, which you are doing so beautifully,
thank you,
blooming and moving out into the world and finding her own way and her own place and her own car and a nice boyfriend and all of that, then the mother, especially if she is past middle age and she's alone at home in Maine without a man, you see, then that's the time when I would normally get all upset. Oh my God, she's leaving me. And I would get a disease or something in order to reel you back in to keep us under our upper limit of joy. And so I've noticed this pattern in my work so often. I had it with my own mother. After I was divorced, I went home and had a family party, and my brothers went off with their wives, and suddenly I realized uh-oh, if something doesn't change, I'm going to be my mother's date for the rest of my life. Meaning at family outings, we'll share a room together, and
Right.
that's
and we
it for
had
me.
that for a little bit there.
And we did. We had it for a little bit. You were my date. We had a very good time.
We did actually have a really good time.
But we were really interested in branching out, because you see that thing where family members will keep each other stuck. And so it usually happens at a growth spurt for either the mother or the daughter. So if the mother decides to go off to Bali or whatever and do a yoga class or whatever she's going to do, the daughter will get chronic fatigue, something like that, depression, drop out of college, in order to reel the mother back in, or vice versa.
Right.
The mother will get some disease or some depression or do something to reel the daughter back in, so that the two of them can stay stuck at a lower level of vibration and fun than what would be possible. And the reason why it's so potent and why I want everyone to know about it is because your body was formed in your mother's womb, and whether or not she was pleased actually determined the amount of nutrition your body got. So if your mother wasn't happy, your body literally wasn't getting oxygen. And that's why we're tuned in to our mother's happiness in such a huge way.
It makes so much sense, because sometimes you feel psychotic. Like, I do. Sometimes I'm like, why the hell do I care so much what my mom thinks?
Yeah.
And
we
it
all
really
care.
makes me feel like super neurotic.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that it's coming from a cellular memory and that it's not my fault.
No, not at all.
But it's
And
good to be aware of it as well and not let it run my life and just be like, wow, it's so interesting. I'm noticing that I don't want to tell my mom I'm moving to Scottsdale because I'm afraid she's going to be upset.
Which is interesting because I'm not upset,
Not upset
at all.
Anyway, she was like, I think that's great. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. And I wrote a big book. It's called Mother-Daughter Wisdom. And it's just exactly on this stuff. And I think it's my most important book because it's how you become the mother you never had and how you update the legacy so you don't continue to tamp down the aspirations of your daughter. And by the way, I think a lot of it applies to mothers and sons as well.
Yeah, well, and it's for every woman because every woman is either is a daughter.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of them are mothers. So,
That's right.
Yeah, so it applies. Okay.
All right.
So, 3 questions.
Yes.
When do you feel the most free?
Interestingly, I feel the most free in a partnership situation. And the one that comes instantly to mind is dancing Argentine tango with a really good leader like Paul Babineau, who's one of my teachers, with whom I can completely surrender to the mastery of his lead, whirling and twirling to the sensual music of Argentine tango. So it's like this feminine and masculine energy come together like God and Goddess, and you've created something that wasn't there before, and I feel completely free and ecstatic in that moment. Yeah.
What are you doing right now that you're scared of, but you're doing anyway?
I'm not very afraid of much of anything anymore. I used to be really afraid to even just go in to tango because I thought, oh great, this is just what we need. We need another middle-aged single woman who wants to learn how to dance because there aren't enough leaders to go around. But what am I scared of that I'm doing anyway? Something happened to me and I got unscared about September 16th. I had a big Saturn cycle end then.
Cool.
Yeah, it's like the fear. If you'd asked me a month ago, I would say that I would, afraid of just going to the next stage of my life, except that I'm ecstatic about the next stage of my life because I know the best is coming.
Well, there's a quote I just heard, which
Yeah.
is that fear is excitement without the breath. So I think that ecstatic feeling is it's just a razor's edge away from fear. So I think you just probably started breathing more.
Probably.
Probably, okay. And lastly, what do you love about your life?
I love just about everything about my life, but what I really love is I've created a home. When I drive in, the house hugs me, the trees hug me, the flowers hug me. I have created heaven on earth for myself on a tidal river in Maine. It's a lifetime of work, and I am so happy there.
It was a great place to grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for coming on my show.
What a pleasure. Finally, I get
I know.
to come on Glimpse TV.
You've hit the big time. You
I
have arrived.
I have indeed.
Thank you.
you.